as a millennial, and for some other millennials that are in the room, you might remember MTV. You might have ran home.
Yes.
Carson Daly.
TRL.
Okay, be here now. Be here. Carson Daly, little TRL. My parents, they did not allow me to use the phone to make a request, but I did watch the show. And I also learned that MTV and pop culture played a major part in my development in life. It was like another parent for me. And watching MTV, one of the most important things I watched was a show called True Life. And on the show True Life, they talked about addiction. Now, for me, I have what I call a positive addiction. So when True Life always started, in the beginning of the show, I'm going to start my talk the same way and say, I am addicted to sneakers. I have a problem. Right, if you Google it, in my community, I'm called a sneakerhead. And I love sneakers. I won't even say the number, but I have a lot. But what I learned early on about sneakers helped me become a leader. But furthermore, besides sneakers, was my childhood. You see, my grandmother had 18 brothers and sisters. That means my great-grandparents had one hobby. We're not going to talk about that hobby. But they had one. It was very obvious. But my grandmother and my parents always had us doing something. We had to go to somebody's barbecue. We have a big family. It's a lot of stuff. Funerals, barbecues, birthday parties, baby showers. I mean, you name it, you have to go to an event. Every year we had a family reunion. Our family reunion, no lie, 200, 300, 400, 500 people. It felt like a national conference. And what my grandmother and my parents taught me is that no matter what, and no matter whatever space you're in, make sure that you're seen, felt, and heard. Now, going to my culture, it didn't go like that. But educationally, that's how I went. Seen, felt, and heard. My grandma was more like, when you go over there, you better act like you belong. And you better not embarrass us. Got it. That was actually meaning seen, felt, heard. So at a very early age, I learned not only the importance of loving sneakers, but I also learned the importance of being my authentic self in every single space. And not only being my authentic self in every single space, I learned that servant leadership is what fit me. Being a servant leader, making sure that my cousins felt good when they came to my house, just like I felt good at their house. Making sure my aunts and uncles felt good at my barbecues, just like I felt at their house. So I decided that this is my leadership style. Sneakers and servant leadership put together gives you 3 C's. Community, creativity, and collaboration. And I'm going to talk to you about it in a minute. So this is me. Believe it or not, despite having a TED Talk and a fancy bio, shout out to my business partner for writing that, I didn't talk much as a kid. I just didn't talk. I didn't speak much. But what I did, and I knew, my grandma said, when you go into those spaces, there's 2 things. Make sure your feet felt, seen, and heard, and also make sure your sneakers are clean. She said, stop. Don't go to wear no dirty sneakers. Make sure your sneakers are clean. So I always had clean sneakers. I found out that people in my community love sneakers. Despite being a blue-collar, small city, when you had on the nicest sneakers, people gave you attention. You didn't have to talk much. Your sneakers spoke for you. So as a kid, this is me in kindergarten with my teacher, Miss Fieri. And I had on the Jordan 6s. And I remember having these sneakers on with no friends at the time. And I saw Miss Fieri's walking me in the calf because I probably was like, oh, I don't know. Where's my friends? And she walked me in the calf, and I met a friend that's been my friend for years. His name is Brian. We have the same sneakers on. Us having the same sneakers, we connected. 30 years later, if you can do the math, you can do my age, we're still best friends. Furthermore, I'm not here to act like I'm an arrogant sneakerhead, like I have the best sneakers. These are not a pair of sneakers I'm proud of. But they were Nikes. And so I have these sneakers here, and these are my friends. Chris Herzier, Mike Puzio. Still talk to him to this day. All around sneakers. And I learned that not only sneakers are important as a fashion statement, but sneakers can create community. And I continue to do that. Elementary school, middle school, when I was an athlete, when I got to college, any space I got into, because I didn't mention, despite having a big family, I was still a first-generation student. Virgin in a lot of different spaces. Only person of color in so many different spaces. So I had to figure out how am I going to build community. So for me, early on, it was standing on sneakers. Now, years later, I started working in higher education. And I thought, okay, I'm young, person of color. All the students are going to love me. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be the guy. Everybody's going to love me. Every student's going to talk to me. We're going to all graduate in 4 years. Yeah, it's going to work. It did. A lot of people didn't talk to me. Students walked by, hey, it was like, hey, oh, all right, cool. So I decided, what can I do to build community now at my job? I have done this in so many other spaces. What can I do? How can I be that servant leader at my job? Not only be that servant leader, but how can I build community? And how can I bring in the things that I love? Because what happens is, when we get into these jobs and spaces, we forget who we are and our authentic self. And I was always taught that if you don't tell your story in a space, somebody will tell the story for you. So a lot of times we go into these spaces trying to be something that we're not, and then we don't understand why we don't like our career, or why we don't like our coworkers, or why we don't like that potluck. Now granted, somebody might have had some bad food at the potluck, but that's another story. It's important for us to figure out how can we bring our authentic self into this space. So I'll take a second here as an educator and ask you to think, what is it that makes you authentic? For me, it's my sneakers. That's what I bring into every single space. I'm not telling you to go and buy some sneakers today. But what I'm telling you is, what is it in you that you grew up in, your culture, who you are, that you can bring every single day that shows who you are authentically. So for me, I said, you know what, I'm going to stop wearing my nice hard bottoms to work, and I'm going to put on some Stan Smiths. Nobody's going to notice. But they're sneakers, and I'm going to connect with the students. So I wore some Stan Smiths. It's like, yeah, I'm ready. Got up early. You know anything about my culture also? You take your clothes out early, lay on the bed. You cut out a fresh fit, a.k.a. a nice outfit. So I was like, I got the nice outfit ready. I ironed it. Like, oh, you feeling good today. Put on my Stan Smiths. Students still walk by me. I'm like, man, thought they were going to talk to me. Get your Stan Smiths. I paid some money for these. One student, I'll never forget, won't say their name. They said to me, Professor, that's not it. Now, when a student says that, for those of you that don't know, that means it's a bad outfit. So I was like, what you mean it's not it? Nah, that's not it, Professor. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. He said, I got something better for you. Look at my sneakers. Now, I'm a little competitive, so I was a former athlete. I said, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in my closet and bring out the sneakers I really wanted to wear. And the sneakers I really wanted to wear changed my career forever. The sneakers I wanted to wear were these Jordan Travis Scotts. And at the time, they were really hard to find. And I had them. So when I had them, you can imagine the school was in an uproar. You'd have thought the United States president walked into the space. It was just me and my Travis Scotts. Everybody loved me. And after that, I learned that it was important for me, again, to bring my authentic self. But I also learned that now I was having conversations with students that never talked to me before. Conversations around their career that never spoke about their career before, because I opened the space. I remember when my grandmother once told me, years ago, you gotta be seen, felt, and what is it? Heard. Right? Seen, felt, heard. I remember that. And I said, you know what? There's some students that need to be seen, felt, and heard. And the only way they can be heard sometimes is their outfit, is their braids, is their tattoos, is the way they carry themselves. Us acknowledging the space of them being there and making sure that we know that there can be so many different people in this space and we can all work together. So that's community. Then I really thought about it and said, wait a minute. What I'm doing is not nothing new. See, sneaker industry, last year Nike made over $50 billion. I remember growing up, having all these pair of sneakers, and people were like, that's a dumb hobby. That doesn't even make sense. You're really standing on line? Wait a minute, you slept in the mall? By Auntie Annie? I'm like, yeah, they wasn't open. I was trying to get a pretzel. But anyway, I learned very early on, the reason why the sneaker industry succeeded, and this is the second piece of leadership that I learned, was collaboration. Without Jordan, we might not know Nike. Without Run DMC, we might not know Adidas. So when I brought this to the community, I realized not only was it helping my students be seen, felt, and heard, but it also started to open the door towards collaboration. And what I'm asking you today as you watch this and as you are here live, is that when you're in these spaces and you're allowing people to be their authentic self, as you say, are you still collaborating with them? Or are you just making it a conversation? Are we finding ways for them to use their strengths in the space? Or we're just making them feel good just for the time being because it's a hot topic? We have to make sure that we're able to collaborate, because collaboration not only can help us financially with a company, collaboration can also help us with retention in a college, collaboration can help us with so much more. If we look at the way sneakers have been able to create collaboration amongst so many people and change the game for so many individuals, we can do the same as leaders. And that's how I'm here today. And that's how, when you hear everything in my bio, I was doing really well until I started wearing sneakers and being my authentic self. And I promise you, it took me to a space that I never thought I was going to get to. I was able to collaborate with individuals I never thought. I remember the first time I wore sneakers to work, and my coworkers noticed. I had a coworker say, "Hey, my kids wear those." And I was like, wow. I don't know if that's a compliment or I should meet your kid. I'm lost at this point. The kid said my fit was bad, and now you're talking about me too. Man, it's a rough day. And I remember other coworkers looking at me weird, not really talking to me. But what happened was, when they noticed the work, when they noticed the results, when they noticed the increase in community, 3-4 months later, I had coworkers and presidents and deans coming to me, "Hey, you like my Converse?" I mean, I do. Because of collaboration and being able to collaborate with my students and being able to identify with individuals and create community. What I'm saying is that without collaboration, whatever success you want, without having that person next to you or creating that community, you can't get to that next step. So it's important for us to figure out, what is our sneakers? What is it that's going to make us authentic? And I'll bring you to the last. Right, when you do collaboration, when you create community, you have creativity. Now, I have a student here in the audience. As you heard or maybe read in the bio, I run a Metacolor program. And the same thing happened again. I ran a Metacolor program. I wore some sneakers. I was like, yeah, this is going to do it. All I got to do is wear these Jordans every day. I'm going to be okay. And it was just one student signed up. Day after day, week after week. I'm like, what is going on? And what I realized is that when we have these spaces of being authentic, as I mentioned with collaboration, we got to find out, how can we make sure those people with the authentic trait have a voice in every single space. So I decided to let my students take over the work that I was doing. So I said, what should we do? And my student who's in the audience today said, we should do a sneaker challenge on campus. And I said, all right, I got sneakers ready. Let's make it happen. And it went from 5 students day 1, to 10 students day 2, to 20 students day 3, to the dean of students coming with $3,000 sneakers. Like, what is going on? Everybody's a sneakerhead now. And not only do we have 1 student in the beginning, but 6 weeks later we had 111 students sign up to the program. But all because we allow an authentic space. So as I close out today, I'm asking you, when you think about the work that you're doing in your day-to-day, are you being authentic? What are your sneakers? Right? I also challenge you, when you create this space, are we allowing people to have a voice to make innovation, to make creativity? Are we allowing that? Or are we just allowing it because it's a checkbox and it looks like somebody that doesn't fit in the room? Are we doing it because it's a hot trend across the country and we feel like we gotta let people be authentic? Just be authentic, on Thursday, that's it. Just be authentic that day, that's it. You look really great, it's an affinity month. Are we doing that? Or are we making these spaces of collaboration, community, and creativity for those to have a voice? Are we being a voice for the voiceless? Are we creating space for those individuals that are authentic every day? My authenticity took me from going to school and not talking to my teacher to training individuals at Google with sneakers on. My authenticity took me from getting laughed at by a coworker for wearing sneakers to creating a best-selling book called We Wear Kicks to Work. If you allow people to be authentic, I promise you, people will be happy. And when people are happy, people will create community. And when people create community, now you can collaborate. And when people collaborate, they make creativity. And I want you to know today, you are authentic, you are amazing, we are all authentic, we are all amazing. How can we create this space and live forever? Thank you.